Welcome, everybody, to the Think Global Futures podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Think PGC. Think PGC is a not for profit social impact consulting firm. And if you were wondering, PGC stands for Think People, Think Global, Think Community. So we are out here really, really, really impacting the world. That is what we're doing. So the Think Global Futures podcast is all about innovative technologies. We're going to talk a lot about AI and how it's changing the world that we live in, how it applies to things like entrepreneurship, innovation, business, small business, corporations. We do a lot of work around the world in all of these different verticals, and we see a sharp impact from the development and deployment of AI. So today I'm here with Dr. Toy, who is amazing. We are going to talk about, how you get started in AI. We get a lot of questions from around the world, literally, about how you get started. The technology itself, it moves so quickly and so rapidly that we get a lot of questions about how do you get going? I mean, everybody's heard of ChatGPT, but believe it or not, there are still people out here who have never downloaded the app, never tried it, and they are running businesses, they are running companies, they are, doing a lot of things that, we see externally, but they haven't tried this technology. Of course, once they do, it's revolutionary, but just the fact that it's moving as fast as it is, and we still have people and communities that aren't read in or caught up on it. So that's what we're going to talk about today with Dr. Toy, who is amazing. Hey, Dr. Toy, thanks for joining us.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Yeah. We do a lot of work at Think PGC around getting folks started with AI and from very beginning all the way to as far as you want to take it, whether it is an individual or a group, or whether that's a company or a community organization. We do a lot of work with just a variety of different audiences. And
Hmm.
it's really wonderful to see people get on and get involved. And Think PGC has we're also an equity and ethics forward type of organization. So we want to make sure that when you are using AI, that we're doing it appropriately and safely, because I think that that's one of the things that scares people a lot about even getting started with it.
Absolutely. All right, so let's just jump right in. All right, let's give the people what they want, what they came here
So
for. All right, so let's start at the very ground level. All right, let's just level set with an actual definition of AI. I mean, I think that we say AI, we just have an assumption that everybody knows what AI is. So if we can just start right there, just so we can have a definition, I think this is a great sort of ground level because how many people have said the term AI in the last 24 hours? Probably the most searched term on Google, something crazy like that. But do people really know what AI is? And, so that's why I kind of think that would be a good place to start. Then let's just jump in. How do people get started? How do they start messing around with it? So, all right, a quick definition. I'm gonna see how you feel about this, Dr. Toy. A quick definition, I think, is AI is literally just the science of making machines do stuff. And just to keep it super simple, the science of making machines do stuff. And of course, that's based on pattern recognition. It's based on learning from their environments. That's based on adapting to the information that it receives or has access to. But basically, these are machines that are learning and then are able to give you results, give you outcomes based on the data that it has access to. All right, I think, super simple. What do you think about that, Dr. Toy?
I agree with that. And it's thinking about, when AI, when you do a chat, and we'll talk about that in a second, but when you do a chat with AI, it's not actually recognizing your words necessarily. It's recognizing those patterns and it's pulling data from the giant data set that it's been trained on, which is a large part of the internet. Uh, so it's recognizing patterns in what you're putting into it and what it's most likely to have an answer and doing figuring out what's the best way to answer that question based on its trained data. That's why we kind of saw the if you were in an AI large language model a year ago, even you saw a lot more, more mistakes, also called hallucinations.
Hmm.
Now you see it's less and less and less because it's been trained on this data as it's gotten better and as it's been fed more information. So yeah.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And some of the things that you said in there, we're literally going to have whole podcast
Yes.
episodes about. So don't fear, guys. We're coming with more content, more podcast episodes to talk about hallucinations, to talk about data aggregation, these types of things. But to Dr. Toy's point, I think at the end of the day, we want you to know that this tech is just tech. It's a machine, and they're powerful machines. They think and they process really quickly, and everything like that. But, it is really based on data, So, just kind of want to take some of the fear, take a step back, and take some of the fear out of the whole idea that, the machine is going to eat you tomorrow type of thing. Like this is a very approachable sort of technology that everybody can have access to. I think one thing the AI did is sort of democratize the opportunity to do certain things. And that's, to me, one of the more exciting parts of it. Again, we'll have whole podcast episodes about some of these topics. But the inequity that exists when it comes to things like the digital divide and, people have access to technology versus don't. Like this next iteration of technology, AI, is breaking down so many walls and barriers, and it's just making access much more ubiquitous than it was before. So I'm really excited about it. There are tons of negatives, but I think net net is going to be a positive as we, go through the process of iteration. The government regulations that are going to come behind it. All of the things, all of the guardrails that are being built literally right now as we speak. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be net net positive for humanity, with this technology giving access for all type of thing. What you think about that part, Dr. Toy?
I think that's right. That's at least that's the way that I feel about it. And we'll probably have a whole podcast on this idea of, oh, AI is going to eat my job and take my job, which I'm not cheapening that idea because
Yep,
in many ways it will take a lot, maybe even a whole job category.
absolutely.
However, the hope with us and training folks on how to appropriately use the tools, you're going to become better at your job. So maybe
Hmm.
it will take a huge chunk of your job away, but that will leave you the ability to do other things that will
Hmm.
help the company. And
Hmm.
we want companies to think about AI in terms of like let's make the company better by keeping the people we have and just training them on how to use these tools. But we'll get into
Yeah.
all of that in another episode. So yeah, I think that the main thing is to just get started with it,
Hmm.
learn about it because honestly, it's the people that understand AI and how to leverage it are the ones that are going to advance with it. And it gives you a voice.
Yes.
If you're like, I'm not doing this, I'm out, you're completely allowed to do that. But then when you want to complain about it, it's you won't know what you're talking about. So
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
it's something that I think you should at least know what it is that, how to use it, what it does, and
yeah,
how to make it effective in your life and work. And we can show you some really fun things you can do to get started too. So
yeah.
we'll get into
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
yeah,
that.
yeah. All right, so let's jump into that part of it because that's what we're talking about today is how to get started with this technology. We want to make this, again, we focus on accessibility. So we want everybody to be able to get value out of this. And trust me, because we do training at all levels, so we work at the university level. I teach an AI course right now at Georgetown University. Multiple community colleges have spoke all over the country on this topic. At the university and college level, Dr. Toy has done the same. We also train communities, work with local governments and things like that. Again, that part of the training or that vertical of the training is to bridge the digital divide and get the average Joe that doesn't know anything an opportunity to come into a curated space in their community, ask questions, and be able to get the information that they need to help them to start with this technology. We did an AI community AI training, I don't know, 4 months ago, something like that. And I mean, it was probably probably 60 or 70 people that showed up, and it from middle school all the way. I think the oldest person in it was a lady. She was 85 years old, and she was amazing. But like this is the hunger and the need. This type of technology is something that everybody's going to have to get used to. So it really cuts across, lines that generally are put up, in terms of economics, race, these types of things. This technology cuts across it. We can all get in a room and learn together. So on the other end of it, we also do corporate training. So we're talking about, corporate leaders that are running massive organizations who have never even downloaded the app of ChatGPT, and they're running, 50 million, 100 million. I even talked to one leader who's running a couple $1 billion organization we were doing some training with, and he's like, look, I run a $2 billion organization, but I don't know anything about this AI stuff. And, so it really levels the playing field and puts everybody on the same sort of wavelength when it comes to how do you start? We're not just talking to, the old, retiree. We're talking to the Fortune 500 CEO. We're talking to the community member. We're talking to the professor at the university. This is a real question that we get literally around the world. So that's what we figured we'd start today. We'll talk for a few minutes about that, but I think this topic is very, very widely sought after right now because the technology is moving so fast. And, where do you get in? Get in where you fit in. Where do you get in?
Right.
So I'll kick it off and I'd love to hear your thoughts, Dr. Toy. So my thought around this is that first and foremost, let me just set the stage. I feel like this technology is probably one of the first times well, I'm not even going to say that because generally early adopters, this is how it goes. This is how the cycle of technology goes. But right now, we're talking about a technology that's literally changing the world. But there's generally a difference between like enthusiasts in something and actual subject matter experts and professionals, things like that. Generally, in most verticals, you have enthusiasts, people that are really good, they love it, they enjoy it, and people who are actual subject matter experts and are professionals, things like that. That's the difference between the guy that loves to play pool and goes to the pool hall, twice a week in his local pub and the guy that's playing on ESPN, the enthusiast versus the expert, I think that this is an interesting time because the enthusiasts with AI are the experts.
Right.
And I think that, generally, you don't get those two things kind of mixed up. Generally, there is a clear distinction between, hey, I am an expert, I have a doctorate, I have done this, I have done that, I'm the professional, and the guy that's just tinkering around with it in the basement, every day. But I think AI is one of those ones where if you are just an enthusiast and you just play around with the tools all the time, you become the expert. You are the subject matter expert with this technology. What you think, Dr. Toy?
I agree. I mean, that's my doctorate is not in AI because that didn't exist.
Did not exist when you got your doctorate.
Who knew?
Surprisingly, I don't think it exists now. Doctor
I don't
AI, I
think so,
mean,
but it
maybe,
probably will.
maybe it
Maybe
will. Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was kind of like, social media marketer never existed before, and
Yes,
now it's in every
exactly.
college in the world. But yeah, that's, I mean, my background is in technology and different things, so I was just very excited to get in and start exploring, and that's how you do it. I mean, we now know that there are some cool frameworks and things that we can share with you so that you don't do like the mistakes that I made when I started. But it really is. It's the person that's willing to go in and play around with it and see what it is that they can do with it in their lives. And what's really cool is that I just recently taught a class on AI, and it was a
Sure.
very basic intro class as well. And
Yeah.
it was so cool because I had just a variety of folks in the room that were all starting basically from zero, but some of them, there was no work application at all.
Yeah.
So, like, these are moms, these are grandmothers, like, just going, okay, why would I want to use it? So, just showing them little tricks like, well, it can help you with your grocery list. It can help you
Yeah.
with, I mean, yes, it can help you if you have work documents to synthesize and all of those kinds of things. And but it can also help just, I mean, I took a picture of a very cluttered room in my house and asked it for suggestions, and it gave me some great
Some great
ideas on how
suggestions.
to rearrange
Yeah.
my stuff. So
Nice.
it has applicability everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that that's
Yeah.
what makes it really, really fun. So
So I think there's levels to it because, to your point, I don't think people understand just how much you can do with this technology. I think there are some categories. So, of course, there are people who have just never used it. They're scared. They don't want to use it. Then there are people who maybe not have the time because, like that CEO that I was talking about that runs that $2 billion company that we were working with, he didn't necessarily say that he didn't want to. He just doesn't have the time, and to learn all of the things you need to learn, even by just playing around with it for a guy that runs that size organization. I mean, you can just imagine what his calendar looks like. There is not these 10, 15, 20-minute lulls throughout the day where he can just play around with the tool. So you have that category of person too that really just doesn't have the time and doesn't know where to start. But there are also that first level of people, and I think this is where you're talking about, Dr. Toy, who have messed around with the app, but they just kind of use it as a glorified Google
yeah,
search and
right.
not really understanding that you can do so much more with this technology than just search stuff. And if you think about it, if you go to Google now, and you do search something in Google, it gives you the Gemini results now at the top, not the Google search. I mean, personally, I think Google search is going away. SEO is pretty much dead. We're on to GEO now, generative engine optimization, these types of things. So, I mean, the shift is happening. And, I love what you said about the class, really teaching people just how to do a little bit more with the
Yeah.
technology. And I think maybe even that's something that we can encourage people to do in terms of where to get started. If you have not gotten started, just download ChatGPT today. It's free. You can just start messing around with it. I always encourage my kids, for instance, I say, prompt something every day. Like put something in ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT to do something every single day. If you are the user that's just using it for Google to search stuff, as a replacement for Google, do a little bit more. Do what Dr. Toy did. You want to declutter a room, you want to, rearrange your office, see what kind of suggestions AI can give you.
Yeah, and you don't have to start. And so to what Tremaine said, the app is free. It's not just ChatGPT. So this is a question we got like, well, which one? Because we've got a Gemini, we've got
Yep.
ChatGPT, we have
Yep.
Claude. If
Yep.
you're a writer, that's a good place to start. We
Sure.
have um we have Grok.
There's a lot of them.
And,
Copilot,
and
Perplexity.
yep, like there's so many. But I think the one that everyone's probably heard of is ChatGPT. And
Yeah.
like Tremaine said, if you want to start there, great, start
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But it really
Yeah.
doesn't matter which one you choose. And
Yes.
that's always that kind of
Yes.
like fear. I'm gonna pick the wrong one, and what do I do? They all basically work the same. So
Yep.
if you
Yep.
start with one and you decide to switch, it's very easy. I know Tremaine's more of a Chat GPT person. I started leaning more into the Google Gemini, and it's just a preference thing. I
Sure.
still use
Sure.
Chat GPT for some things, and heck, I use Claude. I don't know if you've ever played around with that one, but it's again, they all work basically the same. And another thing to think about too is, you might hear in the news all the time that, oh, ChatGPT just released this new thing, and then Google just released this new thing, and that's kind of that shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
We're like, oh
Yeah.
no, wait, I
Yeah.
picked the wrong one. But
Yeah.
honestly, they're all in a race to be the best. So if one releases something and it does this cool new feature, the other ones will do it soon. So
Yeah.
just you don't need to really worry about which one you pick. It's kind of just play around with all of them. They're all free to just experiment with.
Yep.
In fact, you don't even now you won't have a lot of features, but you don't even need to have even create an account to
Yeah.
play it to just first get started. You can just
Yep.
go in. You don't have to log in. You don't have to do anything. You could just go in and start messing around, and you'll get very quickly to a point where you're like, oh, I need to create a login. Still free, but now I'm making a login. So you just step
Yep.
through that process, and it's a lot of fun to play around with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know of a person who has tried just let's just say Chat GPT, but really any of the GPTs, but let's just say Chat GPT have tried it and has not been blown away.
Right.
I mean, once you really wrap your arms around the capabilities of this technology, it really changes the game, like structurally, foundationally changes how you do what you do. And that, to me, it harkens back to the days of the internet, when the internet was first coming out 25 years ago. This is going to be a structural change to everything that we do. So when we say, hey, just get started, this is like, something that we're really encouraging people to do for the future. I mean, you don't want to be left behind. You don't want to be the person that can't catch up because it has moved so quickly. And I just don't think there'll be a point. I think you can always get started. And like I said earlier, the experts these days are literally just the enthusiasts. These are the people that just downloaded the app a couple years ago and just started playing around with it. ChatGPT has been around 2.5 years, maybe
Yeah.
three. I mean, ChatGPT is a toddler.
I like
I
that.
mean, literally a toddler. I mean, this is how, and it's ubiquitous now. So like it's everywhere, it's global, but it has only come out 2, 3 years ago. And so, you have time to get on the bus. That is what I want to leave people with today is that you have time to get on the train. It is not fully and completely pulled out of the station. You can literally download the app and just start asking it stuff every day. And in months, you'll be caught up you'll be a subject matter expert just by asking it something every day.
I'm gonna give everybody the thing that blew my mind, but
Okay.
it's so simple, but
Okay.
it changed everything for me in terms of using the chat.
Sure.
So somewhere along the line, early on, somebody told me that when I'm doing a chat, I'm not just asking a question like I would ask on Google. It's a mindset shift that we
Yeah.
have to get.
Yeah.
It's not just a search engine, but when you ask it a question, maybe like a Google search, start there. Why is the sky blue? And
Sure.
then it will give you an answer. And then if that answer isn't what you're looking for, you tell it that thing. So you have to use it more of like an assistant or a conversation.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
so at the beginning of my experience with ChatGPT and other models, it was asking it a question and going, "Oh, that's wrong," and then closing it and going, "That's
Yeah.
it. We're not
Yeah.
doing this anymore."
Yeah.
But when I heard that advice, like, no, no, if it's wrong, tell it it's wrong and give it more information about what you're looking for. And we'll have
Right.
a well, probably a series maybe on prompting and how you get better information out of the chat. But that was something that kind of blew my mind in terms of,
Yeah.
oh, wait, I'm allowed to continue to talk to this thing. Go,
Yeah.
no,
Yep.
you're wrong.
Yep.
No, you're wrong. Please tell me this. So if you just play around with that, and it's kind of funny that you said toddler because I'm sitting here thinking, actually, the person using it kind of has to act like a toddler,
Has
right?
to,
Toddlers like
yes.
all day long. Why? But
Yes.
why? But why? So you have to be
Absolutely.
like, but that's not right. But I don't think
Yep.
so.
Yep.
Challenge it and it will refine itself and start giving you better information. And that's
Sure.
something that was
Sure.
helpful when I got started to learn like, oh, well, wait, my mindset is, Google search or whatever, but
Yeah.
you kind
Yeah.
of have to
Yeah.
change it to thinking, oh, wait, this is kind of more of a conversational type of thing.
Yeah, so you bring up a great point, and I think this is a great place to, sort of wind down this episode is the mindset piece of it. And you mentioned the word mindset probably 2 or 3 times just now when you were talking, and I think that part may be one of the most important things to address when it comes to where do I get started,
Mhm.
because your mindset literally has to go back to discovery mode. You have to get into, and I love what you just said, the technology is a toddler. We almost have to go back to that as well, where we're really discovering, open for anything, open for figuring it out, iterating. The tech keeps changing, to your point. This is what you said earlier, Dr. Toy. The tech has updates, and they've got ChatGPT 3, then 4, then 5. Gemini's coming out with new versions and iterations. So it's always upgrading. And it's like, as that's happening, we can do that mentally ourselves. We can say, hey, this is a new technology that's doing something way different than Google. I'm used to Google. I'm used to Googling stuff.
Right.
But this is a much, much, much broader and much more robust technology that I can do more stuff with. And like just wrapping your mind around that sometimes can be a challenge for people, especially if they don't really have a growth mindset. They more, traditional, more set in their ways, but this is not an age thing. Trust me. There are retirees that are set in their ways, but there are people that are not, would be considered seasoned or older that are set in their ways as well. And I think you have to address that in order to really take full advantage of this type of technology because it's moving, because it's doing so much, because it's integrating into stuff now. You got a Gmail account. Who doesn't have a Gmail, right? But now Gemini is embedded in your Gmail. It's integrated. So Google has put their Gemini, which is their Chat GPT, their GPT, in your Gmail. So now when you hit that little button and it helps you clean up your language and clean up your punctuation and give you a better thought. And like you said, Dr. Toy, you can say, make it more conversational, make it, more professional, make it, in the voice of a first year college student, however you want to do it. Like this technology is now being integrated in some of the stuff that you're already doing. So when you lean into it and you change your mindset around what's possible, I think it opens up some doors.
Yeah, absolutely. And just using it to you can use it for so many things and like
Mm.
and just asking it. So, how do I, get started? I mean, you can literally ask the you can literally ask the AI like, how do I get started with
With
AI?
AI, you can
And
ask ChatGPT how to
or
get started with
give
ChatGPT.
me give me five different ways that I can get started, and it'll
Yes,
do it. And maybe
it'll
some
do
of
it.
them might not be what you want, but maybe. And then if the five ways aren't what you want, then ask it for 10 more
Yeah,
ways.
give me some more
Give me give
suggestions.
me a simple project to do.
Yeah,
And
simplify this for me.
that's that's like again, it's that shift in your thinking of how to approach the technology. But yeah, so we're really excited. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a new
yeah.
podcast, but there will be so many more things, and we're so excited. Every episode will bring you either an interview or a nuggets of wisdom or both things in an episode. So we are really excited to launch this. And Tremaine, why don't you tell them about the upcoming things?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We got a lot of upcoming things. Thank you for that, Dr. Toy. So we have one of the big things that we have coming up is we're going to do a global AI for All conference. That's coming up in the beginning of next year. We're bringing our communities from around the globe together virtually, so you don't have to worry about travel or anything like that. But we're going to get together virtually and we're going to discuss multiple verticals in this thing called AI. So we'll have something for small business, something for educators and university. We have something for the corporate folks. We have something that's more generalized for the community. These are the types of things that we're really leaning into so that we can be a stopgap. We want to help bridge that digital divide. We want to give people comfort in wanting to go out and learn how to do more stuff with AI because I think the more we're all using it, the better it is for everybody. I think transparency and I think just global use and accessibility is what is going to bring equity to this technology. If only a few people on the planet are doing stuff with this, that's where it gets a little scary. But if anybody in whatever country, zip code you are, global, can use this technology to improve and enhance their lives. That's where I think the future of this thing can be a little more equitable and a little more exciting, to be quite frank. So we have the conference coming up. We have multiple webinars coming up. We'll keep you guys posted about that. Podcast episodes are going to be dropping pretty regularly. We'll keep you posted on that as well. And you'll also get a chance to meet some of our team. So our Think team is pretty amazing. We have tons of AI experts that are in-house. We're building cool products and cool technology, AI agents. We're doing all of that ourselves. So you'll get a chance to meet some of the team. I didn't really get a chance to introduce myself either. I'm the
You didn't.
CEO. Yeah, I'm the
What's
CEO of
wrong
Think
with you?
PGC. I know. I just got to talking. I was so excited about the technology, Dr. Toy. I am the CEO of Think PGC, and of course, Dr. Toy is on our leadership team. She is amazing. We built Think PGC probably about 2 years ago, right as ChatGPT was coming out 3 years ago. We were coming out with Think PGC to kind of get ahead of the technology and the innovation. My background is in technology, more on the entrepreneurship and innovation side. I run two AI companies today alongside Think PGC. So we have a really good, I think, footprint and visibility into what's going on. And we just want to share and make sure that everybody can come along this journey with us. So I think this was good.
Oh,
Oh, go, go,
can
go.
I, so Tremaine mentioned the AI for All
Yes.
conference.
Yes.
We have not established a date yet, but again, it's going to be in January
Yep.
2026.
Yep.
And we do have a wait list. So we will put a link if you're interested in being on the wait list. So you're the first to know when when the event links and all of those things
Yep.
are up and running.
Yep.
We will put a wait list, a link in the show notes here, and you can click on that. And we do have like a little kind of getting started AI toolkit that you'll get for free if you do join the wait list, and we will be in touch. So very excited about that.
See, this is why Dr. Toy is on the leadership team because I forget these things. So excited to talk about the stuff and talk about the tech and talk about the conference. I forget all of the details. So this is why you need good people around you. We'll do a whole podcast about having good people around you. All right, this was great, Toy. What do you think?
I think so
All
too.
right, this is
I'm
amazing.
excited. I'm excited for what's to come, and I hope everybody that listens to this enjoys it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Please
All right.
share, do all the things that you
Yep,
did.
yep,
That'd be
yep.
great.
Absolutely. All right, we'll see you guys on the next one.